Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dr. Jeff Arnott. In today's session that I'll be talking about is how to build a marketing plan. And let me tell you a little bit about myself and about marketing plans and how personally myself, I have evolved with marketing, especially in school programs. At one time, way back in the day, when social media was really starting to take off in the advertising world, I used to potentially brag all the time about how wonderful our marketing was in a county I used to work in before. Currently, I'm the executive director for all workforce programs here in Osceola County, which includes adult ed. But since those days, I really have learned how to evolve our programs. In the help with our staff here in Osceola County, many of the folks came to me and said, Jeff, have you ever thought about doing strategic marketing? Have you ever thought about doing, some, marketing towards certain sectors or marketing toward a particular marketing program or, a particular class that we're doing? So that really had me start thinking, maybe there is more science to this than we thought. So anyway, I want to tell you a little bit about that story and tell you a little bit about the best ways to market your programs in adult education. Also, with a lot of these our regional conversations that we've been having around the state, I know when everybody met in those little things with IPDAY, many people brought up that they wanted a regional strategic marketing plan. So I'm here today to talk to everyone how we can do that. And as you can see here from this little graphic here, there is many different ways to market your programs. There's traditional ways like television, billboards, bus barns, things like that. And of course, there's electronic ones like blogs, social media, email marketing, online marketing, and of course, websites. It's always important to make sure your website is easy to access and also that it provides lots of information for you. As you can see, all these things do work together. However, before we make a plan, and why do we make a plan? We tend to make some mistakes and assumptions when it comes to marketing. I think all of us, maybe with the exception of a few, went to school to be school teachers and to be educators. And really, marketing was not, unless you took it as an elective, really wasn't part of your curriculum. However, as schools, especially in the post-secondary and the adult education world, we do have to compete for students. And of course, with competition means you have to market to those students. According to Forbes, this was Griffin's work in 2022, very recent work, marketers make 9 common mistakes. And here they are. And I made many of these mistakes when I really started taking on and tackling marketing in adult education. The first one is a very important one. You might say, ooh, entertainment, providing educational content without entertainment. What I mean by entertainment and what Forbes means by entertainment is stories about students. That's entertainment. Maybe some special interest in engaging stories about students, some of their talents, some of their accomplishments, graduation ceremonies. Those are accomplishments, but they also kind of fall into that world of entertainment. So you really want to tell a story and show a story while you're doing some advertising. Also, the second one, lacking understanding about their target audience. I've seen many social media sites and adult education campaigns that focuses a lot on the teacher. Nothing wrong with that. We want to focus on teachers, or they'll focus a lot about some of the accomplishments they're doing with curriculum and so forth. Once again, important and worth talking about. It does tell the story. However, at the end of the day, that's not who we're marketing to. We're trying to find students who need their GED. Now, however, if you're looking to advocate and so forth, maybe you use Twitter. And that's a little bit down here about that. Also, the third one, and I made this mistake really, really bad, marketing too broadly. I was marketing to pretty much everybody in Central Florida. Is that too broad? Should I be marketing only to, just to our neighborhoods, to particular cities, things like that? Because, I could spend a lot of money marketing in, say, because I'm south of Orlando in Kissimmee, I can market all the way down to Miami. I might pick up a few students for some online programming, but it would be difficult for those students to find our programs. And really, why would they when there's plenty of great quality programs in South Florida? Number 4, and I did this one as well, and I still do some of this today. have paid ad campaigns, especially on social media, for quick results. And sometimes you need quick results. Quick results will work if you have a very targeted campaign. But you always want to train traction organically. For instance, when students enroll, if they're not following you on social media, you need them to follow you on social media because they'll have friends. Their friends will see their posts, the things they like. So those things over time do bring additional students in. Not to mention, it does bring additional dollars potentially from finding new business partners. Politicians may see, or lawmakers may see some of the great work you're doing locally, and that stuff does make a difference. And I will personally say, I've had business partners come to me and said, Jeff, I've done my homework on your program, and I'm really impressed with your social media and some of your presence and your website. Because of that, I'm going to business with you instead of some of your competition. So yeah, sometimes you got to do that just to keep up with the Joneses. Also, wrong platforms or medium. I know everyone says, go Instagram, go Instagram, go TikTok, go TikTok. Yes, there is a time and place for all those. But also you got to remember who you're talking to. If you're talking to students, yeah, maybe Instagram is the right platform. If you're talking to lawmakers, Twitter is most likely the best platform. So make sure that the message is consistent with that platform. That's also an important one. And also watch the trends of these platforms. Facebook is still today, of course, the godmother of all social media, but it may be a little broad. Instagram is maybe best for telling the stories that you want to do your students or reaches. So definitely do your homework when it comes to that. And I mentioned this one before too, focusing too much on services and not the students. You want to make sure that the students are aware of those services, but you want to put it in their language. Make sure that is done. And also just making the assumption that that the student knows more or less than they do. Putting stuff on there. Come and get your TABE test. A student may not know what a TABE test is. I don't think any student would really know what that is unless their parents work for TABE or something. They don't know what that is. So always make sure that it's in a very simple language that everybody can understand. And here's one that I was making a big mistake about. And I believe, and we're doing a better job with that, is marketing through storytelling, talking about the student stories, making short videos, blogs. Orange County does a good job with this. Parker up in Orange County, I'll give him credit where credit's due here. He does have a few blogs and so forth through Orange Technical College's social media page, which I read, and there's some good stuff in there. We're starting to do a little bit of that too, because blogs are usually things written by, that can really help you out with big picture things like telling your story to policymakers, telling your story to your own people in your own organization. There's folks maybe at the district office may want to know a little bit more about your program. That's what it is. And also number 9, and this is a big one that I've made too, only relying on traditional marketing methods, TV and newspapers and print media. Do they work? Maybe, maybe not. So don't just rely on them, but also on the flip side, don't always rely on social media as well. Make sure that they're all in place. Here's one thing that you must do in order to figure out exactly where you are at. Create a SWOT analysis. A SWOT analysis stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats within when you're creating these things. It was something that was created in Stanford University in 1965, and it's commonly used with schools like the Wharton School of Business, Harvard Business School, and pretty much every business school in America now. And also they teach this as a way to try to figure out how to shift your marketing strategy. It's basically, it goes into four corners, I guess you would say. There's your strengths. I could mention before, weaknesses, which could be harmful, and also your opportunities and threats. There's the internal strengths, and then of course there's external strengths. So those all come into play with this SWOT analysis. And also after the webinar, if you go on to the IPDAY page, there will be some resources there that will actually talk a little bit more about SWOT analysis. And actually, you can see the SWOT analysis we did for our career technical education programs here in Osceola County. I actually put a copy of our marketing plan out there for everybody to check out, and please copy. Here are four types of things to take into consideration when you're thinking about marketing campaigns. One, you need to have a comprehensive overall marketing plan, which we'll talk about marketing strategies, some long-term and short-term campaigns. Long-term and short-term campaigns do change after time. So definitely go in and and review this thing very, very often, because your needs may change. You may have an opportunity to offer an IET with some funding from CareerSource, which you would talk about as free and all those wonderful things. Those are things that you want to take into consideration for sure. There are 18 marketing types, and I'll open this up so you can see a few of them. And this link too is in those resources that we mentioned as well. These are some of the common ones that are done today. Digital marketing. And I found this to be a very simple and easy website to use. Offline marketing, that stuff kind of like, traditional stuff is considered offline marketing. And inbound marketing has a couple examples of some YouTube commercials, putting the laws up, I guess. Outbound marketing, content marketing, and really you can almost do a 3-semester class on this stuff. And I think this is important. When search engine marketing, this is something that's a little more advanced and something that you should consider. Take time to Google where your program is, or just Google GED, Osceola County, and see where you come up in that, or adult education near me. Do some of that, do a little time to determine that, to see where you're at. The idea is to try to make your website come up first in search engine marketing. So make sure you take time to do that. And of course, you can pay for some of those services. Google Analytics and has some of those, and I've purchased some of those, and they tend to work pretty good. And it's also linked very closely to streaming, like if you wanted to do marketing through iHeartRadio and iHeart Marketing, those things you want to do. Growth marketing, of course, which is really not relevant here. Business to business marketing, where you maybe partner with other companies to help bring your business up. A B2B marketing example would be something working close with CareerSource, where you have a co-branding type of story itself. Business to consumer marketing. You just go right down the list, and then you'll see different types of marketing plans. Okay. Also, here's some. Let me go back. Basically, what you want to do once you do your SWOT analysis, you really want to answer these 7 questions. One is establish your marketing goal and define what you're trying to achieve. Are you trying to get more students? Are you trying to get more students maybe in your GED program? Are you trying to advertise more IETs, or a combination of all the above? You want to list out what they are. We ranked them in order. These are the things that we must do. And some of that is working with community, things like that. So find out what your goal is and define how you're going to get there. Also, identify your audience, and this is important too, your competitors. And competitors could be, maybe GED programs that aren't affiliated with school districts. And plus, when you look at competitors, you might be able to even partner. So identify who they are and basically who you're targeting. They may be targeting different people than you're targeting. So remember that as well. And also, you can market different sectors on different platforms, as we mentioned before. Instagram may be for students. To find business partners, you would market that potentially maybe on Facebook or Twitter. So you want to remember those platforms, or off marketing techniques, maybe billboards, things like that. Those are different things you can do as well. Set your budget, and I emphasize it should be a priority. Don't be cheap. Definitely spend some money. And by the way, good marketing is not cheap. You got to have design. You got to have print material. You got to make sure your website is looking good. You got to market on social media. In fact, I have 3 people that their jobs are to make sure our social media pages stay up to snuff. One for our CD department, one for OTech, and one for ALCO, our adult ed. We want to make sure that it's quick, it's fast, it's out there all the time, and the stories change, and so forth. Determine your deadlines. We set goals, so we're going to set 4 or 5 posts out a week. We do that. And we also determine our deadlines for our marketing strategy. And those are pretty easy in adult ed because you always have beginning and ending of semesters. So it can be easy. And for us, for instance, when we set our budget, we put a lot of money into December and we put a lot of money into August. That's because those are the kickoffs for 2 major semesters, right at the winter semester and right at the fall semester. So yes, set your budget. It doesn't mean it has to be consistently the same month to month. You want to set some months maybe a little stronger than others. Also, choose your marketing channels and tactics, as we talked about before. Are you going to use some of these things? And also with choosing market channels as well. Also beware and definitely talk to your school district and college. For instance, I know TikTok is very controversial at the moment, especially using on public devices. So if you're thinking about doing a TikTok, I would definitely run that one by your information people at your school district, but also with really creating any of them. Most of them I find now do want you to work with social media and have a social media page. However, they may have some guidelines, like you can only have one, or you can do one for marketing and you can do one for community members. So definitely follow their guidelines. And there is a good chance that they definitely will want access to that. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just a couple more eyes looking at the content as well. Definitely track performance. A lot of these social media platforms will have a way for you to track to see how many people follow it, who it reached, and also even give you the demographics, age demographics of who followed it, who liked it, and even the city where those likes come from. So definitely follow that. You could definitely see some trends there. And also, even likes of pictures and so forth and comments that people are making. Definitely, well, one, you should follow them just to make sure nobody's putting anything inappropriate up there. But also you want to see which post perform the best. You'll find out that graduation pictures do really, really well. They're shared quite a bit. So if you see that, put a few more of those out there and so forth. Also, create a team to execute the plan and follow up. A mistake that I've made in the past is create the team too big. Make the team where it's 3 or 4 people that can really just follow through, execute, help create stuff and so forth. I definitely recommend here to have a team, but don't have too big of a team. There is such a thing as too many chefs in the kitchen. Also, use a balanced approach when you promote students and promote students first. Like I said, I don't know how many social media pages I've seen of other programs throughout everywhere, the United States and so forth, that doesn't focus on the student too much. They focus about their partnerships and so forth, where you wonder if students are even there. So definitely make sure students are in there. In fact, we even balance it. I tell staff that 50% of our posts should be about something about students. Also, post several times a week, as we said, and pay for followers. It doesn't take much money at all to get more followers to like your pages, and also even to like, to get hits toward websites and so forth. It is a fairly cheap medium compared to TVs, for instance. Digital advertising in your marketing budget. Digital advertising is something, with Google Analytics I talked about. Also, iHeartRadio. Most people are listening to music through streaming apps now. So the streaming apps actually link very, very closely to advertisers that are on who pay to be on iHeartRadio, and it's very targeted. So if somebody 3 days ago Googled about getting their GED, your advertisement may came through and in between a song, but between Guns N' Roses and Bon Jovi. So your advertisement may come on there. So, and they can't skip them either. They have to listen to them. So make sure you do that. And also true with YouTube. We're starting to experiment a little bit with YouTube as well. And they have the same type of platform. This number 4 is probably one of the most important things you can do. I Google every now and then just my competition, let's say, and I see that their websites aren't that friendly to use. They're not modern. They look like maybe some 3rd graders did them. So make sure you take time to make sure your web page looks really, really good. And I know sometimes there's constraints. The district says you can only do this, but make sure the information the students need to enroll in your program are there. If you can pay online, that's great. How they can enroll online, they can apply online. I know those things cost money, but they will bring customers in. So make sure that's the case. And also, it's vast majority of people are finding information on their cell phone or iPad more than they are on a traditional website these days. Make sure your website is mobile, cell phone friendly. That's important as well. Encourage students. Our career staff does a great job with this. Encourage students to leave online reviews. And by the way, if you ask them to go in there and put some reviews on, I've never come across really negative ones. Most students do leave good, honest reviews that are usually favorable towards you. So definitely encourage students to do that, especially when they've had a success. There is a time you can do that. Also, create engaging video content. All studies show that people will sit there and watch a video longer than a post, hence the success of TikTok. That's the reason why you see social media spaces like Facebook and Instagram now have video shorts all over the place. They know people watch them more than just seeing a regular generic post. Speaking of, even if it's a quote unquote generic post, make sure your posts have pictures. If it's just content, there's a good chance they won't read it. So definitely do that. And also with posting as well, make sure a lot of your posts have ways to get a hold of you, like your phone number, maybe a website. Like if you are celebrating the success of a student, like congratulations, Joe, you just got your GED. You could say something like, be like Joe, call if you know somebody that needs to get their GED. So you're advertising at the same time as you're really promoting educational success. Creating educational apps, that's something as well that you can do that encourages students to go online and so forth. And there's some resources in the thing about that as well. Also promote other educational sites and partners. It's very okay to not advertise, but really promote maybe some promotions a CareerSource has, because those potentially could help your students. And when I say that, make sure those partners, there is a benefit for students and your staff with those. Also, track your data and shift according to promotion, as we talked about before. And number 11, I added this one on there, use an educational marketing AG or consultant. It's okay to say, I don't know everything about marketing. You know, I go to meetings all the time and folks go like, oh, yes, we do this, this, and this. And, you know, I'm not ashamed to say that I have consulted with marketing agencies before to help us with our stuff. And it really does, you know, you get what you paid for. I'll just leave it at that. School marketing, in addition to digital marketing, it should be noted, and I put that in bold print up there. School marketing is more than just Facebook. It's also known as offline marketing. These are more of your traditional old school things that work. Number one, definitely works. And, you know, you hear about it all the time, like, well, you know, most people find us word of mouth. Well, that word of mouth comes from two ways. One, from your students and the success there. And the other word of mouth comes from, you know, I saw them somewhere. So number one is get to community events often. Yes, we've been to the what they call Swamp Cabbage Festival. We've gone to Boo on Broadway, which is a Halloween event. We've gone to many parades, and we do those things, and we get out there often. Where there's a lot of people, there's a good chance there's a lot of people out there that need their GED or want to improve their English skills, who do not know that you exist. So it's definitely worth getting out there. And that's where good print material makes a big difference. Your tabletop displays make a big difference. And I know you can always have your whatnots and knickknacks. You know, I go back and forth on that one. But nevertheless, those knickknacks and whatnots do have your phone number, websites, and so forth on them that could spark somebody to give you a call. So definitely, definitely have those out there. Like t-shirts, giving t-shirts out to students who enroll. That's a good marketing school. They might wear it to the gym, and so forth. I don't know, even your staff. Make sure your staff, if they can have shirts that with your phone number and your program on it. I can honestly say I've probably recruited 4 or 5 students out there in the community get their GED by picking up fast food. I'm going to Little Caesars, and they said, oh, you know something, I've wanted to get my GED. Well, good enough. Let me give you my card. And especially speaking of business cards, if you can afford it, make sure all your staff members have business cards. Because it'll have phone numbers to how to enroll. So if they do see somebody in the community, they can say, here, let me give you my card, give this number a call, and they can help you get your GED. Those things do make a difference. And also when you're at tabletop events, make sure you have a piece of paper out there getting people's emails and phone numbers and follow up with them. There's many people have that intention, but they go home and forget, but somebody calls them back up. Next thing you know, they're sending in their $30. Number 3, have a professional agency. There's always this thing out there. By the way, there's some students out there that are professional. If you got a market, if you got a program in one of your high schools that can put out, professional agency stuff, by all means use it. However, you definitely want to have that keyword professional agency look with your print material. So make sure that that it does, it gives that professional vibe to it, 100%. 4, I know this is tough for some folks because of the size of your program, but hire staff to market programs. And hiring staff could mean like give them a few extra hours in the evening to go to events. At the end of the day, that's not a whole lot of money, but then you have people out there helping to market your programs. Use teachers and administrators to market your program in the community, as I mentioned before, with the shirts, the business cards, and showcase your events. Made a typo there, showcase events to elementary schools for parents in your area. That's also a good one too. I would avoid high schools because no high school principal wants you going in there recruiting students to take their GED, but elementary schools, there may be some parents who maybe need English skills and so forth. So definitely do that. Connect with your career source. If you need help with that, always give me a call. I don't mind helping you with that. Who can refer you students, and they will refer you students. So there's just simple things you have to do to make sure your stuff's on their website and so forth. It's pretty minute stuff. Definitely do that. Also, hashtags. I've seen hashtags that were really, really, really long. Hashtags that were hard to spell. Always make sure you short hashtags that are easy to spell, easy to remember, but also link to your mission, maybe your geographical area. And also, don't forget to promote those hashtags for advocates at ACE of Florida, COABE, and the DOE with the Your Way campaign. Those are all pretty slick, and I know COABE has Educate and Elevate, so use them. I think it's important. And if you have a CTE program, use the CTE ones as well. I think this way you can kind of connect, and everybody's kind of promoting adult literacy and adult education throughout the state. And explore partners that will allow you to host class at their location. We've been real successful at that in pretty much all 3 places I've worked at in adult ed, of really trying to have partners host adult education programs at their sites. And that does a lot for a lot of people. It markets them, it makes them look good, makes you look good. I rub your back, you rub my back. It all works out really good. And here's some of these campaigns that we talked about that you can actually use in your material. We use them all the time. The COABE Educate and Elevate campaign has some real good stuff on there about how to message your program. Also with Educate and Elevate, there's websites in there that has been getting a lot of traction, to where students can go onto they come across this, and they type their address in, and then it will link them to a program close to them. I can tell you there's programs in the state of Florida that I know that exist are not on that website. So make sure, in fact, I'm probably going to call some of you to help you out a little bit, because it's probably a good thing that they're on there. We do get people from that, so make sure you do it. The Get There campaign, of course, has tons of resources, and Samantha and a few of the folks up in Tallahassee are always very helpful in helping you set up your program. In fact, like I said, JW Marriott type of service. They will help you out to help you brand your program. So definitely reach out to them. Here's one that most people have not really been checking out. The GED Testing Center has all kinds of good stuff on there too for educators to promote them. That's one of those B2B things or B2C things where you're promoting the GED Testing Center, but yet at the same time, you're promoting your own program as well. There's nothing wrong with leveraging each other in this situation. Also, definitely check with your GED testing coordinator. They have a code, if you haven't seen it, that, people on the GED testing center will put on there when they register for the GED or inquire about it. There's a spot on there for them to check. I would like a local program to contact me for more information. The first time I got my hands on that list, it had like 40 people on there that wanted more information. Definitely get your hands on it, check it regularly. For people who may be looking to enroll a class, they leave their phone number, their email. So definitely definitely check with them how to do that. If your GED testing coordinator does not know about it, have them give them a call. The folks at the GED testing center, once again, very, very helpful. They want you to be successful as well. And like I said, the GED testing center, the Educate and Elevate, and the DOE, I believe now has that one. ACE of Florida has one. So a lot of these people who may be looking for their GED may come across one of these sites first. Just make sure your information is up to date there as well. All right. That is pretty much it, is what I have. There, like I said, there's a lot of information. Definitely check out the check out the resources. I put a lot of good resources on there on marketing. I found a couple books for free on Google that I was able to put links to that you might like if you really want to get deep into marketing like I did. But once again, there's my cell phone number. Please feel free to text me anytime you want. And then, of course, my email at work and my personal email. Just remember my first name spelled a little bit differently, E-R-Y. And of course, follow me on Twitter as well. And I say that, follow on Twitter. I think it's important if you, I would say, feel brave enough, because sometimes it does take bravery. If you want to make yourself kind of the face of the program, or a group of people make themselves part of that program. I created a Twitter account, and I have quite a few followers on it, that really, not only for sharing good ideas and finding ideas, but you can really promote some of the great things that you're doing in your program. And I have really received quite a bit of business partnerships from that alone. And also LinkedIn's another one too that we're having some success with as well. So make sure you create it for your own personal, professional reasons. A good Twitter account and a good LinkedIn account will link you to many business partners throughout the state of Florida and beyond. So that's a little bit about our story, how we've transformed from being, quote unquote, the most followed social media pages in the United States for adult education. Used to be my tagline, but now my tagline is, how can we use social media in order to find more students, and how we can really build our programs, and hence, at the end of the day, really starting to change our economies throughout the state of Florida. The resources are there, the money is there, the funding's there. Definitely consider marketing. And when you're doing regionalization, IETs, and everything else, I think it is one of the most important things we do. I want to wish everyone a happy spring break and have a wonderful day. Thank you.